Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I'm TechMan16.
And I'm Handy and Kirk today. Oh, here's Kirk. Say hi, Kirk. Yeah, okay, that's good enough.
Very, very Kirk-like entrance.
Yeah.
Right at the point when we're starting. It's like, boom, right here, right now. Me. I was watching Joe Dirt, and I don't know, sometimes Kirk reminds me of him. It's like, what does he used to say? Like, here's one gun, here's the other gun. I don't know. It was funny. Anywho.
Yeah, I could picture him doing that.
Hey, we were just talking about Server 34 bullshit and how we got a couple more alliances popping up. Handy, you mentioned UNN, which is it was called something else before. What was it called before? Oh, it was called BMUS or BMUS because it was a combination of the Beam and the Me Up guys way back when.
I can see why they changed the name.
Yeah, BMUS. And then TBD started up, and just looking at that alliance, it seems like a bunch of dark most people, effectively. Maz is the admiral from Dark. What else we have there? I mean, I guess they're doing this to start their own fun, right?
Yeah, it seems there's quite a few people unhappy with what's been happening in Dark. And this is just what I'm told. There's more than one person that is unhappy with how things have gone down in Dark. And they are not wanting to be there anymore and either making plans to leave or have left. So I don't know what that means, but there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got some of the higher level players, so that's why the alliance is pretty high up there because you got a bunch of level 40s in there. It looks like though it's like an amalgamation of Rogue and Dark and most.
Looks that way, yeah. I don't know. I know they've been asking people everywhere if they want to join. Anybody they deem worthy of their, little club.
Right. So I've actually been really freaking busy the last couple of weeks, so my gameplay has really been limited to log on, do dailies, do the missions, or whatever the events are, and then just log off. And I haven't even winked at the new ship. I've seen it being used on Trojan's base. I don't think it'll have any real effect, or I don't think it had any effect after the first day or so. And then the missions are not the missions, but like the arc itself is just as bad as all the other arcs.
I don't know. I think it's kind of entertaining, and I think the new ship's pretty cool.
The arc or the ship?
Both. I think they're both pretty cool. I kind of like what's going on. I think it's engaging. People are enjoying themselves.
What about the arc is engaging?
People are just having fun with it. People are participating. A lot of people are online. A lot of people are talking, doing rating, blah blah blah. Seems good to me.
I would argue that anybody who spent money on the new ship would say that it's great. I probably would too.
Well, if you haven't built it, you haven't used it, and you don't know, and neither of you chuckleheads have even been playing this week.
Chuckleheads, you're using Occam's terms now?
I would hazard a guess that you guys are not educated enough to even form an opinion.
Yeah, we don't hang out on DJ's show enough, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, see? Just cretins over here.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I mean, just like people who go out and buy Teslas will tell you they're the greatest car in the world, except they have like on average 250 problems per 1,000 cars. But they're the best cars in the world, It's I'm just saying.
As far as I understand about the mechanics of the new ship, it's the what's it called, the Amalgam, right? The packlet packlet ship.
It's the Am-al-gam.
Whatever, uh, whatever. But packlet ship. It increases what as a 0.01% for the how much the base has. So I guess it's really good if a big cracks another big and a small comes in to take loads. I think it's really useful for that in terms of the mechanics, but everybody else, it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would say yeah. It seems like it may have brought, like I've said it before, it looks like it brought the scale of rating um that exists for like, high 30s, low 40s players, maybe to the higher levels. It sort of scaled it. So I don't think I mean, just like if you're a lower level, unless you, as you said, the example you used, unless you have somebody in your alliance that can crack open a really big base, you're not really going to see any use out of it, no matter how you try to justify it to anyone, until you get to that point, you know.
I can tell you this much: I've been shielded since it came out.
Yeah, I just want to interject. It is the Whoa Black Betty Amalgam is the proper name for it. But I don't know. Like we've hit a couple big bases. It's kind of cool.
I'm not saying. So I'm not saying. Once again, I'm also not saying that the ship is garbage. I would just say that the amount of money that people have spent on it, I can't see it. I just can't.
Well, I think if a lower level player spends the money and has a like, for example, let's take Boom here. Boom, what level you are? Are you Boom?
Shit, sorry, I muted myself. Oh, I'm a 54.
Okay, you're a 54, right? Handy's a 52. I'm a 38. So it would be most helpful if Andy cracks Boom and I take scoops with that ship.
Oh,
Otherwise,
definitely.
Handy taking scoops from Boom. I mean, yeah, you can get maybe what, like a billion or something, but the level that Handy or you have to spend is stupid compared to what you can get from rating.
Yeah, yeah. But it still helps defray that difference enough from what it was before that there's some value to it. Like, yeah, okay, are my scoops gonna be, like 20 billion per scoop? No. But if I crack somebody of a roughly equivalent level and I spend an hour and a half rating, hey, my guys are gonna get a lot out of it because, as you said, like a 38 running up with the amalgam will amalgam, but whatever will they'll get a fair bit. But even I will be able to recoup the cost to crack that base and then some. So I don't know.
Right. So okay. I mean that, like I said, it's good for lower level players cracking higher level players. But the bigs cracking each other and taking scoops. I mean, if you're at the levels that you're at, one pack is going to get you more than you could probably get in the raid.
It's not even about that though, Tech. Like for a lot of bigs, it's just the point of it. Like they're just making a point.
Absolutely.
They're just swinging their big dick. Like Inko lately has been rating quite a bit. He obviously doesn't need the resources, but what he is doing is taking them and then sharing them with our alliance.
In what way? Like he's dropped tags so he could raid others and let no one.
He drops tags and has one of us crack them, and then a bunch of our little guys come in and scoop it all up.
Boom, you should absolutely do
that. Yeah, no. The thing to me though is like, yes, can I get a whole lot more out of a pack? Sure, but 10, 15 billion here and there over time, it does also add up. I mean, that's why we do dailies to, defray from having to put actual dollars into the game. So you can't 100% write it off. Like, is it going to change it so much that, okay, now I can just crack someone, spend a few hours and drop a 1.7 trillion upgrade on a building? No, but it does make a difference.
I will say that for the claims that it would be a game changer, I think it fell incredibly short in that department. And I think that's just not true. It's not a game changer. I think it adds, as I said, an interesting way for larger players to scale it to what smaller players can do. And absolutely, there's a huge benefit for smaller players utilizing it while hitting larger players with the large of RSS. But I would say that it's not a game changer.
Well, but that is where it's a game changer.
What I was just gonna say that. What's your definition of a game changer, my brother? Like, think about it for a second. Game changing.
Oh, a game changer would be something that's epically profound. You know, if you're hyping something up, then
It doesn't have to be profound, but let's just call it what it is. Game changing is changing the way people play the game, and this absolutely has done that because people are now rating again that haven't rated in a year and a half.
so by that definition, everything that comes out is a game changer. We can just make that claim.
It could be, but
Well, by your definition, anything that changes the gameplay. When Rogue came out, it was a game changer. When Augment came out, it was a game changer.
that's true.
So everything could be a game changer by that definition.
See, I don't really buy into that. I don't say everything's a game changer. I look at this as a game changer because I know multiple players that were very bored and on the outs that are actively hunting and looking to crack bases to help lower end mids because again, that's where it really for them when you get a scoop that's a percentage of your target, that's a huge amount. And it does make a game-changing difference to them. Like they can start to push buildings that, as a free-to-play, they weren't dreaming of getting the RSS for a long time. So it does really make a fundamental difference there.
We have people, very high-level people, that have essentially stopped playing the game except for grinding, and now all of a sudden they're engaged. They're talking to their alliance mates. They're having a good time, cracking jokes, and they're having fun with the game again. So yeah, game-changing.
So the big, first off, sorry I'm late, guys. Boom had me in DMs talking about glory days, and I lost track of time. I think that it's all about the potential. That the whales had written off rating for a very long time, and now we're enthusiastic about it again. And you can say, "Oh, fuck the whales. What do we care?" But now all the whales on our server on S45, and I assume a lot of other servers, whales are eyeing other whales' bases, and generally those dudes and dudettes have good shield discipline. But we're gonna catch one of them, or they'll catch us with our shield down in a bad moment, either because we were idiots and forgot to shield because we the hubris of our power, or we got busy with life outside the game. And when one of those whales does get cracked, that's your game changer. That whole alliance can swarm some dude with trillions of RSS. And even if that only happens 2, 3, 4 times in a year, people will remember that. Those will be epic fucking raids. And if the alliance that's being raided is on point, even though that whale is offline, their whole alliance is going to be trying to defend that raid. And that brings to me a great deal of enthusiasm that had been missing.
Yeah, I mean, I get behind it, and I'm not saying that the ship is shit. So don't worry, I'm not trying to attack the money that you all have spent. Everybody, chill. But what I'm saying is that it's a very, again, just like a lot of things, it's a super specific thing, and it is extremely circumstantial. So I am coming from a point of, I'm coming from the point of view of someone who's a more budget or even a free to play. When you start talking about spending money, I know that they've said that eventually at some point, you'll be able to give up your third testicle to get the ship for free. But when you start talking about if I'm going to spend money, what am I going to spend money on? It's just, if on the odd chance that you might be able to utilize this ship, I just don't see it. I just don't. And I understand that there's some of the benefits and everything like that, but for your more casual type players who log in to do events and stuff like that, we've had conversations before. I'll fall asleep raiding. Not even 30 minutes. It's just not fun, no matter how much I'm getting.
Can you see? I mean, it would be easy to write it off as like, oh, great, whales can raid a grin, bully for them, and it's easy to write that off. But there's this, there's kind of a trickle down economy that if you encourage the whales to get back into raiding, and I think they've done it in a good way, because me raiding lower level players with the amalgam doesn't get me anything extra. But going after high value targets, yes, that can put a lot of RSS in my pocket, but there's the trickle down to your entire alliance. If I catch Boom, Dick and the dog, and he leaves his shield down for 8 hours, and I crack him, yes, with the amalgam and anybody who has the amalgam, we have the potential to get some great RSS rating in there. But there's the trickle down to your smalls and your mids that we're never going to see a base of that magnitude cracked because it wasn't cost effective. And now we're looking at those big RSS targets getting cracked, and all those small and mids benefit from that as well. In fact, it could be said that they're even going to benefit more than the whales will from preying on the other whales.
No, and absolutely, I think it will. Again, I don't think like I said, I think it still stands that someone like you rating someone of like or higher level or similar level, all it has done is bring the scale of rating in the 30s to the low 50s, in my opinion, in that scenario. So now it's on the same scale. Your cost is X, what you're scooping is Y, and it's going to be a very similar ratio to somebody using a higher level faction ship with Ston in the 30s or even low 40s. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the benefit of being a lower level and having that. But I'm talking about as far as spending money. Most of the people that are mid to lower levels, they're that level because they don't spend money. And so you see what I'm saying? So to them, what a lot of whales tend to forget, and this is why I'm not saying your opinion's invalid, but you're far removed from the space that I'm in, and even the space where you're talking about people who have never spent money, because I've spent plenty of money in this game. I just stopped months and months and months ago, going on closer to a year now. You're so far removed that you forget how important things like having some Latinum is. Some of these resources that you tend to overlook because you can't remember the last time that you went without. So when you start talking about stuff like that, it's like, dang, I got $100 to rub together. I got a gift card. Do I buy this ship that I may use 2-3 times a year to its for its intended purpose, or do I get this pack that has 200,000 Latinum or whatever it is in it with the daily, and I get more Latinum every day, so I can use speed up, so I can hit my daily goals, so I can have this and that. That's when I'm coming from it. That's where I'm weighing it. I'm weighing the importance.
I get that. I would say though that if you're looking at using it only 2-3 times a year, either rating is just not your thing anyway, so of course you're gonna devalue that, or the people on your server in your alliance or whatever just aren't actively hunting very well, because there are a lot of targets where using it, even on like it can outstrip things like your Valky or whatever that you're using for your faction miners if you're still with the G3, like, and that's the other reason that to a degree I at least feel that it's a game changer. It has made the game for me go from, okay, log on, make sure I do my resource collection, make sure I hit X hostiles, okay, I'm done, to now it's an unpredictable, I am actively looking, I am hunting, so it has me back engaged in the game. Like, it's the same reason that you might enjoy hunting as a sport in the real world. Like, there is something to that, more so than just, okay, I'm going to go to A, grab this, recall, and then send it back. I'm going to go to B, kill 25 hostiles of whatever, and I finished that shit for today.
Oh, I can.
What's the cost of the ship? What's the
It's $100 to buy it. It's another $900 to max it out.
another 900 to max it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
It didn't take me 900 to max it.
it's something like that. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I feel like I spent like 600 to max it.
To be fair, to go to play the devil's advocate for the opposite side of where I'm coming from, you can max it out through grinding though, right? Like you don't have to.
Yeah, you can. It's going to take a long time though,
I mean, it's gonna take a.
because there's a 3-day cooldown on the refinery, and it doesn't give you much. It gives you like one part.
Oh, okay.
Dude, the refinery sucks.
Yeah, the refinery sucks.
It's about 14 days to get it from tier 1 to tier 2. And then I don't know beyond that because I haven't gotten there. Because all I did was buy the ship and that's it so far.
So it's like one of those divorce situations where it's gonna take you forever and a day to max it.
Yeah, I'm at like tier 6 on my Amalgam, and I'd say it's going to take me like 100+ days to get to T7 through the refinery.
Does it, if you, if when you tier it, does the ship ability increase or does it just stay at 0.01?
It increases.
Okay, so
Yeah, it gets all the way to 0.1.
Yeah, max is 0.1%, not 0.01%.
okay, all right.
But imagine you're not a whale or a dolphin and willing to spend $1,000 on a ship.
Well, then you wait.
Then you wait like 2 years for it to be truly effective.
I don't think it's going to be 2 years. I think it's going to be one of those things that takes about 9 months.
I still think that there's tremendous value in creating a situation where whales it's cost effective and beneficial to motivate whales to crack other whales because of all the people that can jump in and get in on that would otherwise that would have never occurred.
And the ship is no threat to people that are lower levels. You know, if anything, you would be, and if anything, it would be stupid to use this ship instead of a faction miner for someone who has a low amount. So
I was doing some numbers. For me, like the break point at the target base, its RSS needs to be about 700 billion plus for it to make my Amalgam better than my other ships.
right.
For, number of scoops per run.
But that ain't much.
Yeah. Well, depends on who you're talking about. I mean, you look at my base right now. My base, what's available if I were to be unshielded and you crack me, what's available for you to get right now from me at a 43 that's just sitting there. Now, of course, this isn't tokens. I have plenty of tokens, but I have like, I don't know, maybe 5 billion sitting there that's available that you could get. So you would get
Right, which is totally worth it for somebody to come in and take about half of it and then bounce.
Yeah. But how good? So you can say it's. I feel like I'm arguing directly at you, and I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's we should just move on. We're beating a dead horse. We get it.
But yeah, if Boom cracked me right now, and I have 2.5 trillion RSS. Anybody with an Amalgam is getting the greatest rating payday they've ever seen in this game.
Yeah.
Per scoop.
Yeah, even someone with a tier 1 Amalgam, they just get the first thing only, and you crack like a 46 or 47 that's only got, I say only, but yeah, maybe 150 billion. Well, they're still grabbing initially like 15 million a scoop extra off that, 0.01%. And that does add up. Like that's
Even at tier 1, you take it up to level 5 and it goes up to 0.02, I think. So it's already double what it was just by tearing the ship up.
yeah. So I mean, you can, and for someone that's like a 38, 39, like that extra amount matters. So we are beating a dead horse, but I think for a lot of people, and I get it's definitely not for everyone, but I think for a lot of people, it can be a good return on investment.
Yeah.
Because you should be using it like once a week, not 3 times a year.
I'll put it like this. you spend $100 on that ship, and you can easily get what you would have gotten in a pack, like a resource pack, in short order, if you're in a big alliance at least.
Yeah. I can see it. Now, is there any word on, sort of moving on from the is it worth it topic, is there any word on when, how we will be able to obtain it without dropping a bill on it?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Okay. I'd be interested to see how that goes down.
It'll probably be after the arc. They'll do something.
Yeah.
There is two dynamics to the amalgam that should be considered. And one is the fact that if you're hitting a good target, maybe it doesn't have to be a super whale with trillions, but if it's a very contested raid, you are getting that extra. As soon as you hit it, the amalgam sends its bonus directly to your account. You don't have to dock. So if you find yourself in that really contested raid, it is a way, and your miners are getting picked off, by defenders. It's a way to get a little bit extra. And second, nobody's seen it yet.
Is that the way it works?
Yeah, it's bonus. The bonus goes directly to your account. You don't have to
I
dock.
hadn't even noticed that. That's funny.
My question would be, how long do you think until they're going to change that? Because that seems very broken. That seems very broken.
So I thought about that. My other point was going to be also, we haven't seen it yet. We won't see it for a while. But when the amalgam begins to be able to cloak, it opens up some interesting dynamics for contested raids. But to your point of it's broken, I did think about that. And I'm like, I'm going to be really pissed if a couple of really badass raids occur on servers and Scopely, as we've seen in the past with like their PvP events and raiding events, where they think it's a good idea and then they completely roll back there because they can't take the bad press. If they nerf the amalgam after, frankly, a lot of people threw down cash on it, that would be a pretty big fucking landmine for Scopely to step on.
And I don't think they'll do that.
Oh, they've nerfed ships in the past. They don't care.
I think that there's potentially a shitstorm of players that complain about anything that's contested, whether it's raiding PvP events, raiding events, whatever. That historically, Scopely has just been hit with an onslaught of, and we've seen that they don't react well to that. They backpedal. And that worries me as far as the amalgam.
I will definitely get banned if they do that. But on the other side of that coin, when they add in the cloaking, now you can try to do things like have your cover fire to get it in to hit the base, and then cloak so they can't hit you once you have the RSS. So I mean, there's still tactical options there.
So for me, it's not the cloaking. It's the fact that the bonus goes directly to you. So then at the end of the day, that's one of those things. It's like, what's the point in me being in an alliance to have people help protect me if you cloak the ship and then you hit me, and then even if you blow them up, they only lose the 1 million or 1.5 million regular cargo, and all the rest of the crap goes there. And I guarantee you that we are not the only people having this discussion. And I guarantee you it's already been brought up in a complaint. Like, hey, what the heck is up with this? Like, my people can't even defend me. I can't even defend my people. What the heck's going on? And I wouldn't be surprised if they did change it. And they did another one of those silent changes that we have to figure out on our own. Which,
I don't think they will.
If they change it, then like I said, instead of cloaking in order to hit the base, you're gonna basically hit it first and then cloak. So yes, you'll have to run a gauntlet a little bit, but if you're smart with using ships to protect that's what people do today, use ships to protect their miner. Once you get that hit on, you cloak, and then the RSS is coming back to you regardless.
Yeah, I would say that, obviously there's ways around it, but at least then it wouldn't be unlimited. You only have so much of this, the tetrions or whatever it is, So it would give people an opportunity to sort of at least defend against it. And, again, I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm not saying that it should happen. I'm just saying don't be surprised if all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, where's all that bonus stuff from my ship getting blown up? And Scopely's like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, guys, we weren't going to say anything, but this was a glitch. We never intended for that to happen. And then they'll play.
Look, man, my Cheerios were really nice. Why'd you have to shit them?
I'm just saying, we've seen it before. I mean, look at this hostile crap. What's up with that? You know what I mean? All these things. And when they came out with the hostile limiting, everybody bitched and moaned about it. They're not rolling that back. So,
or go back even further when the ECS Fortunates used to have a warp range of 110, and now they have a warp range of 4. You know, so I think every single ship in the game has been nerfed at some point. So I guess what what Kirk is trying to say is enjoy it while it lasts before enough people complain about it and it gets nerfed and you won't get notified.
yeah, because like I said, the we can move on from this after, but the point that I'm making is that how many times has Scopely made a mechanic and then later on they'll go, oh yeah, no, that was actually never intended. That was a glitch. We're sorry. That's actually was not the point of it. And so that's why we did this, when we know in actuality it was either an oversight or they intended to do it, but they didn't see the outcome. They rolled it back, and then under the guise of, oh yeah, we never meant for that to happen. That was an error in the coding or whatever the case may be.
I can't argue with that either, Kirk. And thank you also for taking a big fucking steaming shit in my Cheerios as well.
I would argue that it's going to take a while, so I don't think you're going to see that change anytime soon. Because I mean, it took them forever for us to be able to zoom out to see the entire system. So I mean, you know, I think it'll take them a while, but it's just that's what we do. We take shits on people here in this show. Thanks for listening.
Hey, but one time they did do a good thing is they increased those DeVore rates by like 5,000%. So now all the LAT systems don't have any mining ships in them except for DeVores. So that was a nice thing that they did. That was an unintended change that they said, nah, screw it, it's fine, let's just leave it.
It also made those lat systems, the Borg high-speed lat systems, kind of fucking pointless.
Yeah, I mean it did. I will say that I talked about it with Handy the other day, and I think I spoke about it with Tech the other day when we were on the phone talking. Is that Scopely has done a lot of good things recently. So I'll go the opposite way and holster the gun, so to speak, and say that some of the things they've done, like Honor Guard Worf is a game-changing officer. This is probably one of the best PvP officers that you can have in this game for pretty much any situation. I mean, you could put him on anything, and he increases your PvP capabilities. And they made him available for people that didn't want to spend money. I didn't spend a dime, and I was able to unlock him. And so things like that is just one example, but things like that, they are starting to, let's face it, they're always going to figure out a way to make money, right? But it seems like they are starting to sort of roll back those dollar signs a little bit and understand that, hey, all you got to do is give us a little bit here, and that'll continue to get us to play the game. And so, just in their defense, it seems like there's been a little bit of a change in the past few months, and I would agree with Handy that I do see more activity in this arc. I don't know if it's necessarily just because of the Amalgam, or here's the thing, it's hard to say because there's also an event store. And anytime there's an event store, you're going to see increased activity. Go back every event store, people, and I'm not talking about the stupid little Borg event stores for 2 days. I'm talking about a full-on event store. You'll see a lot of activity. People want to come in there and they want to get the maximum rewards so they can start getting some of these officers they've been lacking on, more ship blueprints or whatever the case may be. So it's hard to call it because it is an event store, but there has been a lot more activity.
Absolutely. And this seems like a particularly good event store.
Oh, it's the best one. It's the best one by a long shot. Look at I think there's like 80 different things you can get, almost 100.
We're not that far into the loot already. And I've racked up over 200K already, and we're just getting started. And there's good things to spend it on. And there's probably more things to spend it on than ever before. And some of the things that are in there are incredible. Honor Guard Wharf shards, Syndicate XP Syndicate XP. Those are huge. So not only are they giving out good amounts of loot, the stuff that you can buy it with is particularly appealing this event.
I've been finally able to get. I was finally able to unlock JLo.
JLo, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like I say, there's a lot of these things, and they even have the little epic packs where you can get the 5 shards of this and 5 shards of that. So no, I mean there are some good things in there. The cost isn't really reduced at all. I mean the reward stores are pretty consistent in how many tokens you have to change in for an epic officer versus a rare and uncommon and so forth. But yeah, I mean it seems like they're being a little bit more liberal with the loot that they're putting out. The events, there's more of them. So yeah, I mean kudos to them for actually putting out a good event store instead of having like 4 officers and a fucking avatar that's overpriced.
For those that don't know, Handy has all the avatars. He collects them. That's his goal in the game, is to collect the avatars.
That's lies.
Are they only the fat avatars?
Yes.
All right, that's on brand.
Only the what avatars?
The fat avatars.
The fat avatars.
Oh, the fat ones. Yes. Yeah.
I'm a fat shamer, apparently.
That's what he targets first, but that's his goal now in STFC. Ever since he stopped spending all that cash on it, it's all about get the avatars.
Right.
You think he'd be repulsed by the fat avatars, though?
Well, it's my way of making fun of the fat people, apparently.
I'm not shaming. Handy knows what he likes in life.
You can't use the F word on this show, Handy. That's inappropriate.
Yeah, you can't say fat. You can only say obese.
Oh, really?
You can only say fat in the after party.
My bad.
Yes, just so everyone knows, I'm going to throw out a disclaimer. I am by far the most PC person, but this is an inside joke, and we are by no means saying that anyone should look a certain way. So please don't be offended. It's also kind of sad that I have to make that PSA.
I think most people know it's just a jab, a joke.
That's a good one, Mud. I like that. Calorically rich.
That's fantastic.
That's a good one.
Calorically rich. Calorically healthy, I guess.
Abundance of calories. Anyways, what else you guys got today with the new alliances happening? Oh, damn it, Raptor was here. I wanted to ask him about TBD. What's up with that?
A good question. Well, I mean,
Does anybody know?
I can tell you I've heard very little, but what I have heard is people that left Dark were unhappy with how things are going at Dark. And they wanted to try something else.
So here's my thing. I'm reading for those of you listening. Mud has put from Server 34 has put in the chat. It says, not surprised that y'all would deny you were just trying to top Dark in the leaderboard. He's referring to Nona, I'm assuming. Kind of like Handy is saying how, quote, unhappy Dark players are, so they're leaving. And then he posts fake news. I don't know. I would say that when your players leave to form their own alliance, I don't know how much more evidence you need. I don't know. I'm not in that discussion. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that right there is evidence in and of itself. I don't know. I could be way off base. I would suspect that I'm not, but
I genuinely don't know. I mean, that's what I've been told by a couple people.
I also noticed that Lord Thanaton is number 2 in rating now. when did that happen?
That's the whole thing with this ship, man. Shit like that happens overnight.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess so. You're right about that.
So then the Amalgam would essentially make the rating leaderboard just devalue it, right?
Well, no.
Well, you have people that have been spending years busting their ass, and then you get somebody that shows up in a few days and completely overtakes them. So that would be,
Yeah, the leaderboard isn't, I would say, a very good gauge anymore.
it's no longer an accurate representation of someone's commitment to a particular, in this case, resources rated.
Totally. I totally agree with that.
Well, AK says rating leaderboard has never had any value, and I would argue that it depends on your game. We've talked about this before. Some people are into rating, and if that's their quote unquote being number one. They don't care about power, but I care about how much I can steal from everyone. So that's their version of winning. And who are we to say that that's not true? Maybe your power destroyed is your gauge for how well you're doing. And maybe that's the thing, or maybe your power. So I don't think it's fair to say that it doesn't have any value, but I also see what you're saying.
So that's going to equalize over time, though. Like, if you're committed to rating, like, yes, some Joe Blow that just got the amalgam and happens on a big base, whatever, yeah, he may pop up today. But over the course of weeks and months, the people that are committed to rating are going to remain on top, with the caveat that some of the bigger guys with the larger amalgams have an easier time doing it. But that's no different than, even take that out of the equation. Okay, my Nova just has more cargo space than you. So if we rate the same target for the same amount of time, I'm going to top you on the leaderboard anyway. But it will equalize
eventually.
I could see that.
Of the three things that are tracked, power, PD destroyed, and the rating is most representative of something that you can only get in game by putting the work in. That shows how active you are, how tactically proficient, how dedicated you are. I think those guys that are at the top of the leaderboards with really high numbers really put a lot of work in. They couldn't buy that. They couldn't phone that in. The only way to do that was to put the work in, the screen time in. So you got to respect that. I know I do.
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's why one of the biggest leaderboards that are sought after by people who pay attention to those things and participate in those things is the rating leaderboard. Because historically, if you look at the rating leaderboard, that's very indicative of someone, for the most part, who spends a lot of time. So people could argue that, oh, well, that person's just, a lot of people have let him drain them or her drain them because, they were leaving the game or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, whether or not you allow me to drain you or I rate it from you in the traditional sense, I still have to spend hours clicking buttons back and forth. So that still is a it used to be a representation of how much time somebody spent in game and their dedication, how much they played the game, in my opinion.
I don't know what other servers are like, but on 45, the dudes and dudettes at the top 5 of our leaderboard for rating are not the biggest powerhouses on the board. Now, granted, they're not smalls, but they're not the biggest fucking dudes. There's some people on there that are punching so far above their weight because they're so dedicated to rating that their numbers are doubly impressive. To me, anyway.
Yeah, same on our server. The top guys very rarely are the ones spending all the time rating.
But that might change.
It could.
It could. We'll see. But like you say, there is a skill to rating. There are, it's not just as simple as hitting bases, which a lot of people think. There is a skill. You plan your timing of when you're going to do it. You're choosing your targets based on how long you've been playing with this person. You sort of understand what time zone they're in, about when they should be asleep, and when you have certain cues that you utilize. I'm not going to give them away because not everybody uses it. There are some cues that you use to see if they're online, even if they're playing possum. There's a lot of things that you don't realize that you do, but we as the people who understand that will know a lot of the times whether you're online or not. So if somebody ever hits you and then they never come back because you're trying to play possum, you've probably tipped your hand. You've probably let them know that you're online in some way without knowing it. And most people won't figure it out because when I've told some of the people, they're amazed. They're like, wow, I never would have thought of about that before. I came from a huge rating alliance. I was there for close to a year in dark, and I learned a lot of things. Whereas I'm not a big rating player, I do appreciate the dedication and the skill that it takes and the practice to be able to do this successfully.
Yeah, the raiders, the top tier raiders are a special breed. Their level of dedication to their craft is something to be acknowledged and admired.
Or in the traditional sense, it used to be. Nowadays, if Inco gets cracked and somebody takes a scoop, then now you got like a billion on the leaderboard with no real work.
That's true. The amalgam and the potential of whales being cracked and looted is really going to shake up the leaderboard. And if I was a dude or dudette that had spent the last year, 2, 3 years cementing their place at the top of the rating leaderboard or near the top of the rating leaderboard, yeah, I could see how maybe they're like, fuck, they dumbed it down. Now anybody can do it.
Well, and I think that you also I believe it was Joachim that made a good point earlier. It will normalize, it will equalize. It's going to take a while because it's going to have to become available to everyone, and everybody's going to be able to have to get their hands on it. But I think 6 months, 8 months or something, I think you're right. I think the people that are that dedicated are still going to raid more than anybody else. I mean, even though you may have a renewed passion for raiding, you're still not going to be as passionate as the raiders. They know what it's like to be up there. They enjoy that spot, that they love that sort of thrill. And unless you've ever been that way, once they get their hands on that ship, they're going to shoot right back past you. So you make a good point there.
I think you're right. I think also it may be a little too early to assess the impact of the amalgam for rating and also the rating leaderboard. Because I think, I don't know what it's like on your server, but I have seen the greatest level of field discipline since the amalgam came out that I've ever seen on our server on 45. People are scared.
3 people right now that I know of are using 30-day shields.
30 days. Why?
Yes.
That ties their hands. Now they're going to feel like they can't do any PvP at all.
They're scared. They overreacted.
Yep.
Jesus. I mean, I'm popping 3 days, but I could do that every day for years.
Ironically, those same people, I happen to know that they don't have near enough RSS for the amalgam to matter.
Right. Like they're not even going to be a target.
The amalgam has scared a lot of people. I think the reality is that as time goes forward, the people that have shitty field discipline have shitty discipline for a reason. Or shield discipline for a reason, because they're not disciplined in their gameplay. And we're gonna see in upcoming weeks or upcoming months, people are gonna fall, they're gonna forget about that amalgam phantom threat out there, and they're going to slip back into their old ways of being lackadaisical players. And I think when that happens, the rating will intensify. Right now, everybody is scared of the amalgam and losing their shit, and shields are popped everywhere. I mean, that's my take on 45, because I've been out hunting.
I mean, I think the most successful amalgam raids are going to be in the middle of the day when people are out doing stuff, clearing nodes or whatever, and their shields down, and they get busy with work and get caught with their pants down.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you're going to see people get hurt. That's when I used to successfully raid the most back in the day, is in the middle of the day when people are busy at work. Because even if they do get an alert, they're busy. They can't answer it.
Yeah, or they just don't see it because a lot of places don't allow you to be on your phone or whatever the case may be. And that's when we get complacent, because nobody's going to raid me. Everybody's awake. Nobody's going to be that silly. And then I steal all your shit during my lunch hour or whatever,
Right.
There is also another factor with where the amalgam plays, is that if you do crack a big target, it makes the efficacy of raiding in territory that much greater.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Because you can get in and get large amounts out in a shorter period of time. Because, there's some alliances that if you raid them in territory, they can't fucking stop you if you're your everything, or Nona. And but there's also, you've got that window where you get in there and you crack them, and you're all rating in territory, and there's a work time that's working against you, turnaround time, but also you're just waiting for like somebody to recall their ship, and you see their ship in the system, and you're like, oh, they're onto us. If that guy posts an AC, they're onto us, and they're going to start defending. So that ability to raid so much more in a shorter period of time, I think, really makes in-territory raids more attractive.
That would be fun to scoop up a whole bunch of stuff from territory space. That would be hilarious.
I've already vaulted a guy.
Has anybody ever tried just repeatedly whacking bases with an amalgam? Does all that bonus still just go to your base, or do you have to empty your cargo?
The bonus only applies if there's open space in your cargo hold. So if you hit somebody and you're full and you hit them again, you don't get the bonus. So as long as you have 1 point of cargo capacity available in your hold, you get the bonus. So you just can't you have to do the turnaround to get the bonus.
Did that answer your question, Tech?
Yeah. No, I'm just, for some reason there might be a glitch in the system where you just keep hitting the base with your amalgam and like all that bonus.
Oh, we've tried. I tried.
Yeah, it'll be a while before I get it. It'll probably be a couple of arcs before they let you purchase the blueprints. I'm sure in the store.
You might be surprised at the end of this arc. They may do what they've done in recent past and just make it available with in-game currency.
It's possible, but they haven't done that recently. At least not for the latest ships.
That's true.
I mean, just about everything that they've ever released had a early adopter to go big on early, and then it may be a month.
Correct.
It may be 3 to 6 months, but I imagine that the Amalgam will end up in everybody's hands by summer.
I mean, yeah, eventually it will. Like, for example, I don't even have a sarcophagus.
You're not missing out.
Never needed it.
Well, you're the lucky one that you never built it because it's a pile of shit.
I'll sell you my T9 sarcophagus for a bargain.
Yeah, no shit.
Actually, I was curious, why is the Vidar never got a cloak? I think that would be the most useful cloak in the game.
Because it's never intended for what people use it for.
The Vidar is like an interesting case study, and it's really the only specialty ship that Scopely has ever come out with that was good for anything other than what their intended specialty was.
Right.
We figured out ways to use the Vidar as OPC hunters. And I don't think Scopely ever saw that coming, clearly, because every other specialty ship is good for absolutely nothing fucking else.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's still good for hunting Borg probes, but I mean, that's just.
Yeah, I mean, all the specialty ships are great at their specialty, but am I wrong? I can't think of another specialty ship that is good at anything.
No, I mean, there were plenty of people that used Vidar as their general PvP ship and skipped the Mayflower and the Saladin or the D3 and the Bortus.
What was it called? It's not the Horizon. There was another.
The North
Star.
Yeah,
that was another one.
Yeah.
I don't know that we might be splitting hairs, but I don't know that I would call the North Star a specialty ship. To my point of view, it had a specialty ship ability that you could use in interesting ways in that level band, but I don't know that I would call the North Star a specialty ship.
Yeah, I see your point.
You guys, you will all tremble at my war devore.
Well, for only for a long time, the North Star was only available if you bought it, and at the level band it was at, it was super useful for pretty much everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was the go-to PvP ship.
Right. Go to base cracker.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, and use it for mining. Nobody can hit it because it's so fucking powerful.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it didn't have value in its level band that I was using it. I mean, when I was using it, I love the shit out of it. But I just don't know that I would call the North Star a specialty ship. It doesn't really have a.
I agree. You're right. Other than that, the only other specialty ship, yeah, I can't think of anything else that was actually useful outside of whatever its specialty was.
I mean, there's a tiny level band where maybe your Botany Bay
Nah.
could be a good rating ship if you haven't got a really
Before you
good
hit your faction
horizon.
miner.
You don't have any faction ships in your horizon. I mean, I rated with the Botany
Well,
Bay.
it's a survey ship though, so it's specialty. I get it's a specialty ship for data, but it's also still a mining ship. It's still a survey. So I don't think that's outside the normal use. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I still don't think that one counts.
I think those were little niches that, like the Botany Bay, the as a raider for its cargo space, and the North Star. Those were little niches that we found when we were all at those respective power levels, and we found ways to use them because that was the best tool we had at the time. I just feel like as quickly as Scopely is advancing the economy, I don't think like a North Star, for example, would be viable as a miner for as long as it was for me or some of you guys as it would be for a player at those levels now because they can advance so fast.
Yeah.
Did Scopely fix the bug where if you take your Stella and attack a base, it does the same thing as if you're attacking a Eclipse Armada? Or is that still a thing?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Like if you look at the battle log and you use a Stella to hit a base, then you do a 12-6 firing pattern as opposed to a 4-2 firing pattern.
I would need to hit a base with my Stella.
Yeah, especially a maxed out one using like con and whatever. You just get massive damages. Donald Trump. Disco. Who knew people would PvP with it? No, that's just a Scopely event. Just like the stupid little jelly brawl. Like, oh, let's use G2 ships for PvP part 1 or whatever.
Well, but you understand like why? Because when they just do standard PvP and someone like in show or me or Hawkeye or like the high level people roll in, it becomes kind of ridiculous. So it helps normalize it somewhat, although it makes me feel like Scopely doesn't even understand themselves the value of research and officers, because my officers and research are also that much more powerful, but it at least sets it a little better.
Well, that's why they used to do banded levels, right? You have a certain level in a certain system where you can go PvP. That makes sense. Whereas the whole why don't you just use a ship to PvP? Oh, and by the way, if you lose points.
No, I know that's the problem there, because even the bands to a degree, like, okay, you stick a 52 in a band with me, well, I'm a 54, I can have a Corvus, that 52 can't. I am just going to smack them all over the place. So that they have to go with the little ships, but then also even with that and the banding, it doesn't always. Again, it gets it closer, but the target is just.
I'm not the hugest fan of like the Rialta and the Disco PvP events, but I have to admit that it does engender a certain amount of sportsmanship and activity that we don't generally see and probably wouldn't see in an unregulated PvP event. I get people, that I don't PM very many people that are outside of my alliance. There's a handful, and they don't PM me because Everybody knows I'm a dick. But when the Rialta and the disco events are going on, I see that high level of activity because people feel like the playing field, they have a chance. And then I get more PMs during like Rialta and disco PvP events from people that my disco with my superior officers and research that Boom was talking about, slay them. And then I get a PM from them that is good natured. Whereas if I kick the shit out of their enterprise, their G3 enterprise with my Ant A, I'd get a shitty PM from them. Like, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? So there is something going on there that I think is positive. I don't think they're executing it to all of their ability, but I think there's something.
I think you're overestimating their ability.
Yeah.
He's overestimating the effort.
Copley's ability to do things right and effort.
Yeah, the effort you could put in to understand the numbers that are generated by the game. I don't really think they have very many data analytics people outside of how to get people to spend money.
Yeah.
You're probably I think you're right, Handy, but I think this is like the break point of between what Scopely intended and then what we as players actually do with it. I'm just saying that
I agree with you there. The intention was to have a relatively even playing field, even though, you look at ship power and it seems relatively even, but obviously it still isn't because our research is just so far superior that, somebody 10 levels lower just doesn't have a chance. I don't care what crew they're... Well, that's not totally true. If they're using the right crew and I'm using a stupid crew, then yeah, they can beat me. But otherwise, chances are we're going to win.
just feel like it makes them feel like they got a chance to go at people bigger than them. Whereas...
No, and I totally agree because a lot of these bigger players don't know how to actually crew their ships and get beat regularly. So, yeah,
I gotta say that if you spend some time on the whale servers and you see some really high ops players looking for crew advice or posting screenshots, you're like, holy shit, would this guy be eaten alive on our server on 45 by people 10 ops levels below them?
Oh yeah.
I'm mystified by whales who can't crew correctly.
Think about it. Sometimes people got a lot more dollars than cents,
I think that's the heart of the matter.
And they end up just spending money randomly without even really looking at what they're spending money on, and their ops level grows, and the knowledge doesn't grow with it.
There is a big difference between a whale and a dedicated active whale.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mud in chat says, as Andy pointed out to Handy, that he has a tendency to talk down to / about others. I think he gets reminded of that daily.
Oh yeah, I'm an asshole.
I don't get that. I frequently Handy and I have fundamentally different ways of seeing the game and how it should be played. And we have debated on podcasts. We've debated some of the shit that's gone on in the after party. We just don't see it the same way. But I've never once felt that he was talking down to me. And that would be an easy thing to do with my redneck ass.
Oh no, he 100% does. He 100% does.
Andy, you son of a bitch.
I know. No, that's not totally true. All in generalities, yeah, I'll talk down to people if they're idiots. I don't like stupid people. If you're a stupid person, fuck you. I don't like you. It's just true. I don't like stupid people.
Well, stupidity is relative.
We all know who they are.
Even if Handy talks down to me, I know I'm vastly superior, so it doesn't bother me.
God damn.
See? Yeah, there you go.
After Handy talks down to me next time, I'm going to get my thesaurus and I'm going to have a rebuttal.
I also know where Handy lives, so if Handy talks down to me, I can always find him where he lives.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have to deal with his fucking psychotic ass dogs.
I'm moving soon.
His dogs are like what do you call them? German Shepherds. You don't get Huskies.
Just don't bring a dog with you, or Handy's dog might fight your dog in your own kitchen.
Yeah, that's happened.
You should. I wish that I recorded phone conversations so we could release some of the content when Handy calls me with some of these stories that he goes through, because it's just golden. They're just wonderful stories. I'm gonna give you the cliff notes. I'm gonna regale you with the tale about the time that he calls me. It's like in the middle of the afternoon, and he's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "I don't know. You tell me. Were you working?" "No, my dog got out, and I found my dog fighting another dog in some guy's kitchen." And I was like, "I'm sorry. You have my attention. What?"
Yeah. True story.
So these are the conversations. These are the behind the scenes conversations that I hear about. It's pretty amazing.
And my neighbor and his dog were all bloody. Apparently, my dog fucked him up and his dog. Jesus.
See, in my mind, your dog actually just went over there and went into the kitchen for a sandwich, and then the shit started.
That's exactly what happened.
If you've ever seen Friday After Next, I got this image in my head, this scene playing where the other guy's dog walks into this kitchen and he looks at Handy's husky and goes, "The fuck are you doing in my kitchen? Making a big ass sandwich and shit."
Big on trespassing, but I gotta feel like if Handy's dog had good manners and went into the neighbor's kitchen, they left a way in, and then they started some shit. I gotta imagine Handy's dog was like, "Hey, I'm just being neighborly. If you don't know how to be hospitable, we could take this shit to the next level, and I'll fuck your whole house up."
And he did too. He got blood everywhere, little bastard.
Apparently his neighbor didn't make a big deal about it. He just kind of leaned into it, apparently.
Yeah,
That's a good neighbor.
well, that's because his dog bit me, my dog bit him. So it's like we just kind of looked at each other and said, "Let's just squash this. Let's just call this a bad day and move on."
Those kind of neighbors are harder to find than you think.
Yeah, well.
Seriously, I keep having to bury my fucking neighbors.
You know, the funniest thing is the guy was like, "I can't believe my dog bit you," and he's like, "He's only bit me a couple times,"
What?
and I'm like looking at him like, "What? I would have beat the crap out of my dog if he bit me."
The idea that this guy didn't realize that a couple times was a couple times too many.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Once again, I will refer you to the stupid people thing. Yeah.
Anybody who makes the statement, "My dog has only bit me a couple times," has revealed more about their character than you could ever pick up in any other way, any other social interaction. "My dog's only bit me a few times." I'm like, sounds like your dog's an awesome judge of character.
There's people out there that treat their dogs like in place of placeholders for children, and it's baffling. It baffles me. I don't know what's going on with that. You know, this the people there. You know, it's a fur baby, and I'm like, I don't want you in my house. You're kind of weird. I don't.
Some of us just don't like children.
Yeah, but see, then people that just don't like children, there's an issue. Why don't you like children?
Have you met my children?
This,
I don't know. They're kind of annoying.
yeah,
They can, but they're children, right? So like people that are like, I hate children. I'm like, I don't know about you.
Well, I don't know how anybody could hate children. I could see how somebody would dislike children, but hate. I mean, hate's kind of a strong, you know.
There are people in this world whose entire personalities are the fact that they don't like children. Can you imagine being so toxic that that's your personality? It's a reference as to who you are, the person that doesn't like children. I don't know. It's just some weirdos.
I'm feeling kind of attacked here.
I just don't like people. I extend that to children.
See, that's okay.
There's also these many of those same people are the types of people that push their dogs around in strollers.
That's a little weird.
Well, yeah, no, that's not.
Boom, don't lie. You have a stroller for your dog.
You know you do.
I do not. I'm actually I'm in between dogs at the moment, actually.
Your stroller's gaining dust then, but we know you have it.
Your stroller's gaining dust. What?
Yeah, it's getting dusty in the garage, but we know you have it.
Oh my god.
Right now, he's putting in a request to come to server 34 so he can crack and drain you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skippy.
I feel like Tech right now is thinking about all the shit that he's ever taken for when he nerds out on sci-fi stuff, and we're talking about dogs and strollers, and he's got to be like, these motherfuckers.
I know.
Did you ever hear the great truck conversation on the podcast? That was a good time.
That was a good convo.
That was the time we figured out that Lethal Weapon drives a Prius.
That's right.
Somebody in chat tell me what podcast that was, because I think I might have missed that one. Either that or I'm old and I can't remember.
It may have not even been recorded.
No, it was, and I think Tech actually labeled it Truck Talk.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was like podcast 63 or 65, somewhere in there. And I drive a Prius plug-in. Well, and my wife does, but whatever.
So it's not your Prius, it's your wife's.
Yeah, but I drive it because fuck, fuel is expensive.
That's okay. It's not your car, though.
Yeah, no.
A likely story. I'm pretty sure that the spare tire on my truck is bigger than your Prius.
Also, I agree with all of you about the whole dog and a stroller thing. I think that's the weirdest thing that humans can do. And humans can do pretty weird things, but the whole quadruped that can walk on its own has to be carried in a stroller. I mean, that's my opinion of those people is very, very low. And I used to live with a person who carried her dog everywhere. And I had to remind said person that, dogs have their own legs. They can walk on their own. And their response was,
Yeah, but some people have those little toy dogs, and then they
no. This isn't no. This isn't a toy dog. This is like a real.
first custom. I knew this lady who had she brought in a purse like every month. Because when I was a kid, I worked in a car stereo and upholstery shop. And this lady would come in every month with a new handbag, some of them very expensive. And I would have the upholstery guy modify it with a little screen window. And she would put her little toy dog inside the purse, carry it around. And it would just be inside looking through the little screen window.
I feel like that's unchecked mental health. I don't know. Full offense if anybody in the audience is like that.
And this has been Strange Dog Talk with Tech, Kirk, and Handy.
Uh-huh.
And the crew. So
We should probably have a PSA though that if you're modifying your purse to put a little screen in for your dog, you're extremely lonely, and find some help, make some friends, talk to a therapist, but you're in danger there. That's crazy ground.
I think that it's one thing to have a service dog. Service dogs are extremely beneficial. But
For sure.
if you're just
I'm sure it
carrying-
was her companion animal, like her little buddy.
Her emotional
And she didn't
support.
have anybody. Yeah, emotional support dog that she kept locked in a little purse.
I feel like you guys aren't seeing the forest for the trees. You're talking about these people with disdain. When I see these people, all I think about is when the apocalypse comes. That's prime forced labor on my pig farm. My wife said that. Where's my wife? My wife said that to one of her friends. Her husband's a brute, and he's an ogre, and he's this, and she's like that, and he's like, and she said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, but I'll put in a good word for you and your family when the apocalypse comes. Maybe you can work on his pig farm because he's going full warlord."
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, so this show has devolved.
Oh yeah.
Tech, what else what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I do have something. I do have something to talk about. Boom has done something really, really nice, and he has volunteered himself to help edit some of these podcasts. So he'll get to listen to all this craziness and edit it out.
And
he's just sucking up. He's already told me that he wants to edit the episodes where I'm in, so I end up on the cutting room floor. So do not even
Your
try.
audio tracks will never be heard. Somehow they never make it through.
We'll just start putting in bleeps wherever. And we'd like to welcome back. And what he's gonna say is, anyway, Handy, what do you have to say about that?
To be fair,
To be fair,
no one
Fair.
has more cause to be sick of the sound of my voice than Boom.
So, anyway, but you know what that means? It means that no matter what we want to do, since he's contributing every episode, you will have to hear his opinion on everything.
You gotta live with it. So do the rest of you.
Because I mean, we don't make any money on this, right? But so what can we offer? We have to offer him more stage time. So now we're obligated to hear his opinion on everything.
But really,
I have an issue with that.
no, it's a tedious
Thank you,
job,
Andy.
and Boom's just learning how tedious it really is to do all the editing. So I actually want to extend a gratitude to the fact that somebody has said that they would help and is actually helping, outside of all the other people that have tried to gotten on the show to help and have flaked.
Yeah, it is a little selfish and out of character for Boom. But to pull the veil back a little bit, first he tried to find somebody in our alliance that had tech skills with Audacity to get to do it. And when nobody stepped up, he's like, I'll have to do it.
Oh, you tried to pass the buck?
Oh yeah, no, of course.
So, I was going to say thank you.
Well, I didn't even have to do it. I didn't even have to do it. When like the first thing the request came out for help, and I was like, "We have a big alliance. I'll see if anyone here can do it." Nobody stepped up, so I said, "Fuck it." How complex is this really? Whatever. We went through it. It's not so bad. It is just tedious as hell. So it's like, yeah, I'll do this.
Well, I think that's pretty cool.
It's not complex. It really isn't. There's a few commands, a few functions to go through, but yeah, you got to listen to everybody's shit, and then you got to edit everybody's shit, and then you have the weird Kirk clearing his throat. You got the weird Handy clicking on his microphone.
Oh, all the time.
You have all the random spurts. Sometimes.
You hear me muting and unmuting?
Yeah, well, it used to be. You haven't done it lately, but I remember, hearing the click. And then you talk and then click.
Oh, yeah. That's when I used to use my headset. For some reason, sound would come through whenever I muted.
But yeah, it's just like you look at the waveforms and you see that it's not real talk, and then you just wipe it out. And then some people end up talking really, really low. You gotta boost their gain a little bit just to have them be the same kind of wavelength as everybody else who's talking. So it's just those things. And then obviously when all of us fuckers do crosstalk, it makes no sense when you're trying to listen to it. See actually who has a good point to say something. But it's just tedious, man. That's all it is.
How often do I get cut?
100%.
It's a good thing I never go listen to the after shows or the show after the fact.
I mean, I'm only working on the first one, and I haven't cut anything anybody said. Sometimes though people talk over one another, so you got to shuffle it a little. Yeah, anything that gets cut is, again, like, at least in the one I was listening to, Kirk. I don't know if you had a cold or what, but man, you so far 40 different throat clears. But yeah.
Man, it's just living here in Florida, man. It's bad.
Say though, I'm against anything that portrays Boom in a positive light. I can't get behind that.
Yeah, it's just bad, man. You live down here, like everything's an allergen. Like it's.
I lived in Longwood. I didn't have that problem. It seems like a you issue.
Especially the children.
Children are allergens? I could see that.
Yeah, you said everything is an allergen down there, especially the children.
Seems legit. That seems legit. Children are an allergen. I think there's scientific basis behind that.
Well, that's Florida.
Right, well, thanks everybody for showing up.
So you can add that to my my list. I'm a fat shamer.
I have an actual STFC question. I think I'd like to direct it to Handy because it's in his wheelhouse. So when you are dealing with another alliance and say like war's been declared, and you're fighting each other, and you're in negotiations with the leader of that alliance, at the point that you realize that that alliance leader is completely delusional and might have mental health issues, how do you proceed from there?
By beating my head against the wall, in which case, I mean, I try again from a different angle. And then again, and then again, and then again. Pretty persistent.
I think he's asking for a friend.
Yeah, yeah, this is totally unrelated to anything going on at server 45. I read something on the server somewhere. No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally not. You mad?
What's going on over there?
What's my allowed to say, Boom?
Yeah. No, I mean, we have a guy who is under the impression that our sole goal for the last several months has been to annihilate his alliance. And I don't know how to express in words how little I give a shit about his alliance. So it's really what happened. The reason we declared war on them is because there was just a compounding degree of insult after insult about the way we operate and things we do. And it culminated in someone insulting Occam actually directly. And this is an alliance that has a history easily searchable on our S45 Discord of declaring on other alliances for what they feel are insults, etc.
So real talk, I would go to the next person in line in their alliance.
We had
Because somebody there probably has some influence over that person, and hopefully they're not a kook.
so our Diplo guy. Oh, it's hilarious that our head Diplo guy at the moment, who's very skilled and is well regarded. Well, he was very well regarded until he joined into everything and brought his alliance in with us. Now he's only moderately well because he joined the dark side. Did exactly that, and he got some inroads of understanding with kind of that second tier leadership because the lead guy recused himself because I think he had a moment of clarity, then realized he was a fucking nut bar, and then his moment of clarity left him, and he jumped back in trying to do Diplo stuff. And I feel so bad for Itzmay and our Diplo guy because everybody's asking him, "Hey, we're still at war. What's diplomacy like going?" And he's like, "Let me send you some chat logs. This is a fucking descent into the surreal."
Yeah, because it started again, as we said, with insult.
Like, I would really like to hear some of this. Like, how crazy is it?
So Boom gave you the thumbnail sketch. So one of his dudes mouthed off to me, and he picked the wrong fucking hour of the wrong fucking day. It was around Christmas. 3 days of just fucking apocalyptic snow falling out of the sky, and my heat pump fan was icing up and failing. So I'm out in the fucking freezing my goddamn balls off trying to de-ice my heat pump fan, my exterior fan, so my family doesn't freeze to death in the fucking mountains I live in. And I come in from an hour of that, and I'm not a happy camper. And his guy mouths off to me, and it was just the perfect fucking storm. And that's what started it. And I like I said, I raised all kind of hell, and we went to war because there was a history of them declaring war on other alliances for just like the tiniest little shit talking. And he is convinced that somehow, even though I didn't start the conversation, it was an event that I or we engineered, and we have some master plan to destroy his alliance. And then he went further on. And it's like, oh, and also, and then next they're going to destroy the only alliance they're allied with, and then they're going to turn on the two alliances that we absorbed a few months ago, and we're going to decimate them somehow.
Oh, that was the best part of yes. And again, to be clear, like so when we initially declared on them, it was supposed to be just. We don't say that it's only going to be X amount of hours or anything. We just okay. Somebody was being a dick. We're going to do a little bit of a punitive thing, and then after a couple of days, as long as they behave and we just do fun, active, pew pew, whatever, we move on. But they immediately doubled down, calling us douches, like all the kind of typical things that you see that frustrates you when you're just trying to come on and enjoy your game and you have people instead shit talking. So yeah, that's rolled into we're trying to explain it, and I even sent their admiral just a direct message like, look, all you guys need to do is stop with the insults for until our next vote on peace, and this is done. Like, this does not have to be an issue. And he refuses to do that, but also claims that we are the ones that are trying to initiate the utter desolation of his alliance, which I don't understand how in any sort of logical form you can square those two thought processes. And then just, yes, beyond that, he has these theories that, again, the one that amused me the most is after we destroy them, we're going to immediately turn on our ally SOS, which he also believes that we forced SOS to declare on them. They declared on UMAD in solidarity with us just because, we've been allies for forever, but nobody asked. But he's telling everyone that we strong-armed SOS into declaring. And then after we destroy UMAD, because there'll be nobody left there, that we will then turn and destroy SOS anyway. And then after that, we're going to turn on, because again, we're comprised of 4 alliances, 4 fleets we call them. We're going to turn on half of our own alliance, our fleets.
Look, it sounds like he's mentally ill. I think he's just mentally ill, and you probably need a middleman. Somebody in some other alliance. It's not in their alliance or your alliance. Somebody you both respect, find that person and use them as a middleman.
I know he's not mentally. So here's the kicker, and the problem is I'm having real difficulty doing that because this person used to be in my alliance. We talked a lot, knew him well. Like we had talked on the phone. We thought about even grabbing dinner because at one point we lived near one another. That didn't happen, but like I know this person very well. I know several of his real life friends very well, and we chat as well. Like, he's not insane in all other regards, which I think is part of why people are still following him, but he has just gone off the deep end on this one conspiracy. And we have not been able to corral that in any sort of way. It's just the weirdest.
Honestly, if they had the ability to shut the fuck up, they could get out of this war.
All right, but maybe even try and get a few of their leaders, 2 or 3, total, in a voice chat with, you know what I mean?
There's an issue there. He had his underlying leadership that was under him, which I have found to be good players and have nothing against. The last crisis that he manufactured, a bunch of them bailed on him because they didn't like being under him anymore. And now those same people are gone.
He booted them.
Did he?
Yeah,
okay. I stand corrected.
He's kind of, he wants to run his alliance Iron Fist style.
So he's probably just going to keep losing support and basically lose his alliance. We've seen it before. Sometimes it takes a while for people to get the clue, but it's probably going to fall apart if he doesn't.
Right. For us, though,
if he doesn't stop acting like an idiot.
For me, at least, the frustration there is it becomes then the self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, he's going to keep pushing this until we have no recourse. Like, he ends up bleeding all these players. His alliance is decimated. And then he's going to say, see, I told you so.
Man, it's hard to be a bully these days.
And for people with 2 brain cells, we'll put it together that he's the one that caused it.
That's not a lot of people in my experience with humanity.
Well, all you can do is put out the real story like you are right now, and that's what it is. Invite him on the show. See if he'll come on next weekend.
I would love that.
Hey, he was one of the names I sent to Tech, that Boom and I sent to Tech. It would be good counterpoints to, I mean, because honestly, I mean, you've had me, you've had Boom, you had Czar that one time. And, you have our point of view, what a server 45 is like. And we sent a whole list of names to Tech to say, hey, these aren't these aren't necessarily our friends. And some of them most assuredly are not. And we would suggest, and we sent those to Tech and said, hey, these people may have a counterpoint to server 45 that is diametrically opposed to ours.
I'll send him to Handy because yeah, like I said,
The fact is, though, if anybody really stops to think about it, not many alliances are very different from each other. Most alliances are pretty much just the same bullshit. And not that it's all bullshit, but my point is that people are people, and you're going to have every types of people in every alliance, and they're not all that different from each other. So once people get that straight in their head, it makes it a lot easier to do diplomacy when you realize the dude sitting across the table ain't that different from you. It makes it a lot easier to find common ground. But people create these narratives in their head that make the person on the other side of the table into this whole fiction they have created in their head of how different they are, and how what they want for their alliance is totally different from what they want from theirs, and vice versa. And that's what you're fighting against. You're fighting against people that have created a fiction that's just totally untrue. And you've got to get it through their thick skull that, hey, man, we're not all that different. We got the same shit going on here that you do there.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, part of why he has this theory is because we've been public that we want to get a server merge going. We are hopeful that people that aren't really serious just stop playing so that we can have the serious folk on and get that merge going. But the theory is that, okay, so now we're just trying to force it by destroying alliances, and that's just not how we operate.
Oh, you're right. Boom's right. That was the other conspiracy theory that I think that we are actively trying to destroy all of the alliances in the game and drive as many players as we can out of the game in order to facilitate a surge
But once
merge.
again, if you go back to what I said and you get that person to realize that we're all just people, they will actually be able to logic it out. Hey, there's no difference from the people that are already on your server to the people that would come in from some other fucking server. It's all the same. The only thing you would get out of a server merger is more people. But that's it.
That's a profound statement. It's the same people. It ain't the same people, but it's the same types of people.
Of course.
That I hadn't really thought about it in those terms, but that's a hell of a point.
And that's why you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You got to get these people that have forgotten that to realize that we're all people. Obviously people are different from each other, but they all act in the same patterns, some more than others. But at the end of the day, all of our alliances are comprised of the same types of people. We all have those fighters. We all have those miners. We all have those people that act crazy sometimes, and we all have a few that are super cool-headed or whatever. Like, we all have the same kind of mix because that's just what it is. We're all human.
Okay, those are good points. Okay, so part B of that question: how have you, with the power that Nona has, and your position in your server and your success, deal with when people want to poke the bear and then surprised by what the bear does to them? I know you have to have dealt with that multiple times.
You know, in the past, we've been pretty passive and pretty understanding and just try and talk it out.
Oh man, that's not our strong suit.
But we're kind of pushing that to the wayside, and then we're now just really kind of adopting more your style, which is you poke the bear, you're gonna get bit, mauled, destroyed. I don't know what else to say. Because a lot of our people are just tired of trying to convince people that we just want to live and let live. We're not trying to fuck with you. Of course, we're always going to do what's in the best interest of our alliance. You can always count on that because that's what every alliance does. So if you look at what you're doing, chances are we're doing the same thing. Yes, we may have more powerful players, but we're doing the same thing everybody else is doing, playing the game and doing what's in our best interest. That's it. And but yeah, I mean, our reaction to people that come at us is just to go back at them tenfold lately.
As far as I'm concerned, the greatest thing that could ever happen to this game would to be merged server 34 and server 45.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Wouldn't that?
And you can guarantee, like, pretty much all of our players would band together and destroy you utterly. We'd have you crying in a ear pillow every night for sure.
Challenge accepted, sir.
Yeah, I'm
Bold words.
I'm in.
Bold words coming from one dude on another server.
Yeah,
All right.
what's your alliance?
Good going, Handy.
Although you guys do have what, a year on us, so
I'm just talking shit. They know that. No, I think it would be fun.
What are you guys at alliance wise? Like three something billion?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, we have 4 alliances, and we have bigs split up between 3 of those 4 alliances to kind of even the playing field a little bit. I think if we if we stripped all of our bigs into like a fighting alliance, we'd probably be, what do you think? Boom, 2.5, 2.8 billion.
yeah. We wouldn't be as big, but we'd be up there. And part of that is just, like I said, you guys have a year, so even the free to play and mids, they're gonna be more progressed.
Right, of course. Although that gap is narrowing as time goes on, that gap is getting narrower and narrower and narrower. So even people that started a year later are catching up pretty quick, from what I see, because of the evolution of the game and how much resources they dump into it scopely, So that gap, that extra year, we got so little in that first year that gap is closing exponentially.
I gotta think about it. If everything in Nona went to war, is Incho still gonna mentor me?
No, he'll just destroy you.
Yeah. I'll fuck his repair bill up.
Yeah, he don't care.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know you don't.
That is one dude who just does not care about spending resources. Doesn't care at all. Never even crosses his mind. In fact, every time somebody sends him a PM, something like that, like, oh, that must have cost you, blah, blah, blah. Inco's like looking at it like, why do people keep saying this?
Yeah, I get those occasionally. I'll be like, yeah, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, it's like, no, but when people are at that level and they're, mid to upper 50s or even lower 50s, the resources to repair these ships are nothing. There just aren't. The game gives us way more than we would need to repair those ships. It just does.
Well, it does now.
It does now, but
Early 4G was a little rough.
oh yeah, absolutely. And but people are holding on to that. They're holding on to that year ago economy and holding it up as evidence why that we shouldn't do what we do. And I just think it's interesting, and people just need to let it go. Like, I understand that they're not there yet, so they haven't experienced it, but
yeah, it's not a viable tactic anymore.
No, I mean, it's not going to convince anybody that they shouldn't go blow their ship up on your base a bunch of times. They just don't care. They're going to do whatever entertains them.
All right, I think we're running up against our 2 hours.
Yeah, it does.
Boom's gonna have to edit this, as he will with all the other shows. So make it as difficult as possible for him.
So you're saying the more I talk, the more Boom has to work.
I've been trying to talk I'm cheap trying to talk over Occam. I'm trying to make it difficult.
I will just delete streams. It's no problem.
Just delete Occam.
Suddenly it'll be like just me and Tech talking.
It's like a conversation
Nice chat.
that like started
Yeah.
started nowhere, went nowhere, made no sense because there's some shit missing in the middle.
It's going to turn into a 30-minute episode.
I feel so vindicated.
It's going to be a 30-minute episode.
All right. There's a lively chat going on about Scopely's new whatever reporting system for their customer service, which is a piece of shit. I'll say it right now. I tried to report something and I had to scroll through like 6 or 7 questions or something before I got a response. It's just dumb. I don't like it.
So they have bots now?
So there's been some chatter. There's been some chatter about that on the whale servers, that clearly something changed in their third-party customer service that people have noticed that it's like they're running on their like more truncated scripts,
Oh, God.
and you got to go through a bunch more steps of bullshit to actually get any.
I think Scopely doesn't realize that 90% of the people that put in tickets know probably more about the game than the people on the other end that are answering the tickets.
Well, the people answering the tickets are not Scopely.
I know that's the problem, but they're trying to help.
I tell you what I've told Old Man and Starbound, and I don't think I've told Starbound, but Sierra Uniform, the community manager, that every time I have a ticket, it's usually something so fucking game unique that trying to explain what the actual problem is to their community service people makes me feel like I'm trying to teach calculus to a squirrel.
I know, it's ridiculous. That's the problem, though. I mean, literally, these are just a stopgap. These people are set there to make us feel like we're being heard, but to keep us busy so that we go away. That's their whole goal. It's a firewall.
I don't disagree. I think the other problem is a bottleneck of when they encounter something that's not easily fixed by their little scripts, they have to send it up the chain to a customer experience specialist. And clearly they're not empowered enough to get them to those people quickly. And there's not enough of those people. Because there's a log jam when you have a serious problem, and they're like, fuck, I feel like a squirrel, and this is calculus. And the delay is just too great to deal with an actual knowledgeable person.
Well, the problem there is, well, that's when you just got to kind of go to Discord. Hopefully you have somebody's ear. Like, for the people that are really into this game and know the mechanics, they, not necessarily a programmer, but like, when something's broken and you know what the cause and effect are, and you have a good handle on what's going on. Like, those people should reach out to community managers and whatnot via Discord and try and foster a relationship with one of these people so that when they have issues like this, they can just get it right to the right person. They can get it to the right person, right?
I found a bug not too long ago, which I posted up for the community managers, which hilariously got boom banned for 24 hours, which is the cherry on fucking top.
How'd that happen?
Your guess is as good as mine, because Occam pointed out a thing and said, he literally said, you should kick the QC people in the nuts. And my response was something like, haha, it's funny that you think they have QC people. And Occam's saying they should be kicked in the nuts, nothing. I say it's a joke that they even have QC, and I get a 24-hour ban.
That's hilarious. It's almost like they clicked on the wrong person.
People just respond to my kinder, softer approach more.
Yeah, that must be it. That being said, why don't we take this to the after party, guys?
Yeah.
You want to close this out, Tech?
Sorry, I'm just looking at something else. Yeah, next time, hopefully I'll get somebody. Anybody from server 55?
Let me look around.
No. The reason why is because I know this lurker that would travel through various accounts just to make this person's own fun. And when this person was on server 55, they told that the best way they were able to get their biggest raids was to spam report a player so they would get banned for 24 hours and then raid their base. So,
Like, have you no honor? Come on.
I was like, wow, that's some serious strategy there. I mean,
That is incredibly jacked up. That is so fucked up.
to force a ban by spam reporting and then raid the base. That's pretty. I mean, not for nothing. That's pretty. It's pretty intuitive. On their part. But and then and other people on server 55 are saying this server sucks. You should go to server 75 or something. Like, so I need to find somebody on server 55 to confirm some of these rumors that I'm gaslighting. So yeah, on that note, server 55, if anybody's there, please come on and let me know if this is all true. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for listening. This has been Dog Talk with Tech, Kirk, and Handy, with special guests ocmsrzr and Boom. Please subscribe, comment, and make sure you go to the purse alteration store and get that little mesh for your toy dog there, built into your purse, because we love people like that.
Yeah, those people are definitely the best.
They're totally the best, especially the ones that have the dog strollers too. Those are great people. Putting a stroller for a quadruped, it's amazing. Anyways, I'm TechMan16.
And Kirk is LARPing. And I'm Handy.
And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see y'all next time.